Hey, amazing people. It's me, Tracy Lene, back with the fifth agreement. We are in the sixth chapter, The Power of Belief, the symbol of Santa Claus. Thank you so very much for your time. Of course, I would love it if you would like this video, if you would share this video, and if you would subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and hit the bell notification so you can know every day when I upload. Let's get started. Remember, this ain't audible. I'm going to stop and add my 2 cents. Chapter 6, The Power of Belief, the symbol of Santa Claus. There was a time in your life when you completely owned the power of your belief. But when you were educated to be a part of humanity, the power of your belief went into all those symbols that you learned. And at a certain point, the symbols gained power over you. In truth, the power of your belief went into everything that you know. And since then, everything that you know has ruled your life. Obviously, when we were little children, we are overcome by the power of everyone else's beliefs. The symbols are wonderful inventions, but we are introduced to the symbols with the opinions and beliefs already there. We ingest every opinion without questioning if it's truth or not. And the problem is that by the time we master a language with all the opinions that we hear growing up, the symbols already have the power of our belief. And that is the power of your parents' belief or whoever raised you. So oftentimes when you become mature and you start to have your own beliefs, you feel guilty because the people who gave you their beliefs sometimes are upset with you, especially if you switch religions. It can be difficult. I remember when I left Christianity for Islam, my mother's feelings were hurt. She thought maybe she did something wrong. I told her, no, it just feels like it fits me now. But she couldn't understand how I could leave what she had given me, what my grandmother had given me. But my grandmother, may God forever be pleased with her soul, said to my mother, do they believe in God? And my mother said, yes. Yeah, they believe in Allah. My mother said it, she said Allah. She said it differently. I can't even say it incorrectly. It's Allah. I think she said Allah. But anyway, and my grandmother said, well, as long as she believes in God, that's all that matters. This isn't a good or bad, right or wrong. It's just the way it is and happens to all of us. We are learning to be a member of our society. We learn a language, we learn a religion or a philosophy, we learn a way of being, and we structure our whole belief system based on everything we're told. We have no reason to doubt what other people tell us until the first heartbreak happens. And we find out that something they told us isn't true. I talked about that yesterday. That's the whole Santa Claus, tooth fairy, all of those things the things that they tell us, oh, it's a magical childhood, but when you find out it's a lie, it doesn't feel good. We go to school and we hear older kids talking, referring to us. They say, you see that kid? He still believes in Santa Claus. Sooner or later, we find out that Santa Claus doesn't exist. Can you remember your reaction, how you felt when you found out that Santa Claus was not the truth? Yes, I didn't believe in my mom anymore. My dad didn't want to tell us the lie, but my mom made him because she was the boss. I don't think your parents had bad intentions. Believing in Santa Claus is a wonderful tradition for millions of people. The lyrics of one song describes what we're told about the symbol we know as Santa. You better watch out. You better not cry. You better not pout. I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town. We're told that Santa knows everything we do or don't do. He knows when we've been bad or good. He knows when we don't brush our teeth. And we believe this. So what I want to ask Christians, I want to ask, I'm being facetious. I'm just saying this to be petty. You basically, Santa Claus is Jesus, because isn't this stuff Jesus supposed to do? Why y'all let a fat white man take over Jesus? Christmas comes and we see a huge difference in the gifts that the children receive. Yeah, I was fortunate. So Santa Claus obviously loved me, but the people who weren't fortunate, I guess he didn't like them, or were they bad? I don't know. Let's say you ask Santa for a bicycle and you were good the whole year. Your family is very poor. You open your gifts and you don't receive a bicycle. Your neighbor, who is very bad, and you know what very bad means, receives a bicycle. You say, I was good. This boy was bad. How come I didn't receive a bicycle? If Santa Claus really knows everything that I do, I for sure know he knows the things that my neighbor did. Why would Santa bring a bicycle to my neighbor and not to me? And I didn't have that experience because we were fortunate enough. We used to write out the list of things we wanted, and we got everything we wanted on the list. So I don't know what that feels like. But when I got older and started understanding the concept, I would say things like, well, how do they justify that? Like, if Santa's given to everybody, how are poor people believing in it? It's just not fair. You don't understand why. Your emotional reaction is envy, anger, and even sadness. You see the other little guy riding his bicycle very happily all around, behaving worse than he did before, and you want to go and hit him or break the bicycle because it's injustice. And that sense of injustice is because you believe in a lie. It's an innocent lie. Is a lie innocent though? I mean, why do we make that up? With no bad intention. Of course, but you believe it and you make an agreement with yourself. From now on, I won't be good. I'm going to be bad like my neighbor. Later, you discover that Santa Claus is not true. He isn't real, but it's too late. You already released all the emotional poison. You already suffered the anger, the jealousy, the sadness. You already suffered from making an agreement that was based on a lie. This is just one example of how we invest our faith in a symbol. There are hundreds, even thousands of symbols, stories, and superstitions that we learn. The symbol of Santa Claus demonstrates how even believing in an innocent lie, which I take, it's not an innocent lie. We must ask ourselves, why was that told? Knowing what it would do to poor people, to think that Santa gives everybody everything but didn't give you, it to me feels like a very deliberate attempt to make people feel bad when they can't afford to do things. They feel like poison. They're hurting us. They're hurting our body, and we suffer from a story that isn't real. The emotions are real. They are part of the truth, but the reason we are feeling them is not real. It is not truth, it's fiction. If you're asking yourself why you're so miserable at times, it's because you're telling yourself a story that isn't true, but you believe it. The truth is that your dream has become distorted, but that's not good or bad, right or wrong, because it's happening to billions of other people. You're not the only one in that situation, and that's the good news. The world of symbols is extremely powerful because we make every symbol powerful with that force that comes from deep inside us, that force that we call life, faith, or intent. We don't even realize that it's happening, but together, all of the symbols form a whole structure made by agreements, and we call it a belief system. From a single letter to a word, from a single story to an entire philosophy, everything we agree to believe in goes into that structure. The belief system gives form and structure to our virtual reality, and with every agreement we make, the structure grows stronger and gains more power until it becomes nearly as rigid as a brick building. If we imagine every symbol, every concept, every agreement as a brick, then our faith is the mortar that holds the brick together. As we continue to learn throughout our lives, we mix the symbols in many directions, and the concepts interact with themselves to create a more complex concept. The abstract mind becomes organized in a more complicated way, and the structure keeps growing and growing until we have a totality of everything that we know. This structure is what the Toltec call the human form. The human form is not the form of the physical body. It is the form our mind takes. It is the structure of our beliefs about ourselves, about everything that helps us to make sense of our dream. The human form gives us our identity, but it is not the same as the frame of the dream. The frame of the dream is the material world as it is, which is truth. The human form is the belief system with all the elements of judgment. Everything in that belief system is our personal truth, and we judge everything according to those beliefs, even if those beliefs go against our own inner nature. That's true. We'll believe things because our parents told us to believe it, or the caretakers told us to believe, or the school, or your peers. In the process of domestication, the belief system becomes the book of laws that rule our lives. When we follow the rules according to our book of law, we reward ourselves. When we don't follow the rules, we punish ourselves. The belief system becomes the big judge in our mind and also the greatest victim because at first it judges us, then punishes us. The big judge is made by symbols, and it works with the symbols to judge everything we perceive, including the symbols. The victim is the part of us that receives the judgment and suffers the punishment. And when we interact with the outside dream, we judge and punish everyone and everything else according to our personal book of law. The big judge is doing a perfect job, of course, because we agree with all those laws. The problem is that the belief system comes to life within us and uses our knowledge against us. It uses everything we know, all of our rules about how we have to live our lives, to punish the victim, which is the human. It uses our language to create the self-judgment, the self-rejection, the guilt, the shame. It verbally abuses us and makes us miserable by creating our personal demons and our personal dream of hell. There are so many symbols that we can use to say the same thing. The belief system rules the human life like a tyrant. It takes our freedom away from us and makes us its slave. It takes the power over the real us, the human life, and it isn't even real. The real us stays hidden someplace in the mind, and the one who controls the mind at that point is everything we know, everything we agree to believe. The human body, which is beautiful and perfect, let's say it again. The human body, which is beautiful and perfect, becomes a victim of all the judgments and punishment. It becomes just a vehicle where the mind acts and projects itself throughout the body. I said this to you yesterday, and I'm going to say it again. When we stand in the mirror and start judging ourselves for being overweight, our bodies are confused, because the body's like, I'm just doing what I do when you put shit food in me. Why are you blaming me? Blame yourself. Change your thoughts, change your eating habits, and then I can give you what you need, but I can't give you what you need if you don't feed me properly. So it's really, we're looking at our bodies and just berating it. And no, we shouldn't berate our minds, but we really should stop and go, you know, body, thank you for even giving me the ability to walk, to grab things, to do all the things the body does. I can see, I can hear, all of that. Thanking the body for that, and then saying, I'm going to do right by you by not putting foods in you that make you gain weight, because that's just what it does, because the cells make fat from it. I don't know all the scientific terms, but I know when we eat shit, our body feels like shit and looks kind of bad. Where was that? The belief system is in the realm of the mind. We cannot see it or measure it, but we know that it exists. Perhaps what we don't know is that the structure only exists because we create it. Our creation is completely attached to us. It follows us wherever we go. We've been living this way for so long that we don't even notice that we live in this structure. And even though the mind isn't real, it's virtual, it's also total power, because it's also created by light. Then something very important in the mastery of awareness is to be aware of our own creation, to be aware that it's alive. Every one of our beliefs, from a minimal one like the sound of a letter to a whole philosophy, using our life force to survive. If we could see our minds and actions, we would see millions of life forms, and we would see that we are giving life to our creation by giving it the power of our faith, by giving it all of our attention. We are using our life force to support the whole structure. Without us, these ideas could not exist. Oh, I have water for it. Without us, the whole structure would collapse. I gotta drink it. I had like a little tickle. You know how that happens. Okay. If we use the power of our imagination, we can see the creation of our personal mythology, the construction of our belief system, and the beginning of investing our faith in lies. In the process of all that construction, all that learning we do, there are many concepts that contradict other concepts. There are so many different dreams that we build, and when we create so many structures, they go against one another and annul the power of our word. In that moment, our word is almost nothing, because when there are two forces going in opposite directions, the result is zero. Let me say that again. Let's go back. There are so many different dreams that we build, and when we create so many structures, they go against one another and annul the power of our word. In that moment, our word is almost nothing, because when there are two forces going in opposite directions, the result is zero. When there's only one force going in one direction, the power is immense, and our intentions manifest just because we say so, just because our word has all the power of our faith. That's why I truly believe that every religion works if you work it. If you follow the tenets of what the religion says. When I was in Christianity, you weren't supposed to fornicate or commit adultery or steal or take your neighbor's ass. All of that stuff you weren't supposed to do. And if you follow the tenets of Christianity, you could be successful. Maybe not your idea of success, meaning money was going to fall out the sky or you were never going to have problems. The problem is we think that because we follow a religion, that means we're never going to have any issues. That's not true. The issues are always going to be there because life is one big fucking problem for you to solve. The religion you choose is supposed to help you navigate through what you're gonna go through because you are a human. You picked up a body. You said, I want to learn this. Ooh, and give you a little bit more of that too. You said that. So when you said that, you got all that stuff, and the religion you choose can help navigate you. When I considered myself a Muslim. We had a restrictive law. It said the restrictive law is your success at all times. And if one followed the restrictive law, doesn't mean that you're not going to have problems. It means that you will be able to navigate through those problems and solve them and have the help of God. But so many people want to make it and change it and say, you know, only God can judge me and you can't tell me what to do. Then don't get in a religion that tells you what to do. Just get out there and freestyle this bitch. Right? Get out there and just be a freestyling person. I'm just going to freestyle this bitch. Because I'm not going to say that I follow this, but I don't follow it. Because it makes it bad for those who look at it and go, I wonder if it works. And they look at you and go, oh, no way that could work. No, I know him. That ain't working. I know her. Must not work. It's not that it doesn't work. They ain't working it. Okay? Every religion can work if you work it. Not the ones that have you drinking poison to die. That's not a religion. That's foolishness. Where was I at? Okay. As children, we invest our faith in almost everything that we learn. And this is how we lose the power over our own lives. By the time we grow up, our faith is already invested in so many lies that we hardly have any power left to create the dream that we want to create. The belief system has all the power of our faith. And by the end of the equation, we remain with almost zero faith, zero power. And it's easy to see how we invested our faith in symbols like Santa Claus. But it's not as easy to see how we do the very same thing with every symbol, every story, and every opinion that we learn about ourselves and everything. I think this is very important to understand. And the only way to understand it is by being aware that this is what we are doing. If we have awareness that we invest our personal power in everything that we believe, perhaps it will be easy to take our power back from symbols, and those symbols will no longer have any power over us. If we take the power out of every symbol, the symbols become just symbols. Then they will obey the Creator, which means the real us, and they will serve their real purpose, to be a tool that we can use to communicate. When we find out that Santa Claus isn't the truth, we no longer believe in Santa Claus. And the power we invested in that symbol returns to us. Well, my children grew up in Islam, so we did not give them Santa Claus. I did allow my family to buy them gifts, and we bought them small trinkets because I didn't want them to feel alienated. They're children. They're not me. They weren't in their 30s. They were children, and children just see other children getting things. Now, my children were fortunate. They got things all year round, but during that time of the year, my oldest son said the reason why he is in the space now that he doesn't care what other people think about him, and not in a braggadocious, arrogant way, but in a way he realizes people are going to think what they want to think, is because he said, Mom, I grew up Muslim in a white school. I grew up a black boy named Aline in a white school full of Christians and people who had, Jews, and I am Muslim. And I had to recognize that this is my faith. And my son, we were very much active, so he got to see some people practicing it properly, not all, but some, because like I just said to you before, if you're going to call yourself something, be what you call yourself, if not just for yourself, but for the people who are interested in that, and then they see you and they either go do the same things you do and y'all just messing up the religion, or it turns them away from the religion. And I do believe that the higher power will hold you accountable because you said you believe this and these are my tenets, and you are here wilding out, making people think that that doesn't happen. But I also think that we think that being religious means we won't have problems. No, it just, like I said a little while ago, it just means that you have a tool to navigate through the problems, because life is a problem, period. Okay, here we go. Where was I at? This is when we become aware that we are the ones who agreed to believe in Santa Claus. When we recover our awareness, we can see that we are the one who agreed to believe in the entire symbology. And if we are the ones who put the power and faith into every symbol, then we are the only ones that can take that power back. That doesn't mean you go outside and say, I refuse to call that a tree. That is now a clock of the pop. And that's it. Now, don't you tell me it's a tree, I'm going to tell you it's a clock of the pop. And if you don't like it, then you just wrong. No, it's a tree, damn it. Okay, it's a tree. We've all agreed before you brought your little ass in this body on the planet that that's going to be a tree. The difference could be one person tell you the tree is evil, you can say, well, I've decided that it's not evil. It's just a tree. It's just something that brings oxygen and it looks beautiful and grows really, really tall and can live a long, long time. How about that? If we have this awareness, I think we can recover the power over everything that we believe and never lose control over our own creation. Once we can see that we are the ones who created the structure of our beliefs, this helps us to recover faith in ourselves. When we have faith in ourselves instead of the belief system, we have no doubt where that power comes from, and we start to dismantle the structure. And that's what religion is really trying to do, each of them, to have you believe in yourself via the vessel that brought you here. Anybody telling you to look outside of yourself for God, you might not want to listen to, because, well, you might don't listen to me saying God is inside of you. You do what you need to do. Let me just not even say that, because I don't believe that there's a God outside of me. I believe that I am the essence of God in a human body, but I don't think of God as this perfect, never make mistakes the way people do. I personally believe that we're here to make the mistakes, to learn, to love, and to grow, and to laugh, and to have sadness, and all have it all. And that sometimes I wonder, why are some people so very poor and some people so very wealthy? And what I've come up with that works for me is because they decided to be very poor and they decided to be very wealthy. End of story. They didn't let the obstacle stop them from being wealthy, and they let every obstacle leave them at poverty. That's what I believe. I could be wrong, but I'm not. Okay. Once the structure of our belief system is no longer there, we become very flexible. We can create anything we want to create. We can do anything we want to do. We can invest our faith in anything we want to believe. It is our choice. If we no longer believe in all that we know that makes us suffer, then just like magic, abra-fucking-cadabra, all suffering disappears. And we don't need a lot of thinking. We need action. It is action that's going to make the difference. That was a quick chapter. Tomorrow, it's chapter 7, Practice Makes the Master, going into that 4th agreement. So that 5th agreement really was just talking about this chapter was just talking about the power of belief, and kind of just piggybacking off of, one second, because it was about Santa Claus, but it was about the last one was about don't make assumptions, because the 4 agreements are the first one: be impeccable with your word, don't take anything personally, don't make any assumptions, and do your best at everything. And this book is going to get into the 5th agreement, but as we read through, it's going through more in detail with the other agreements, and tomorrow we will get into that 4th agreement. Practice makes the master. Understanding that perfection is in the eye of the beholder. I think I'm perfect right now. I am as perfect as I need to be in this moment. That does not mean that in the next moment I won't get even more perfecter or things won't change, but it means right now I accept that everything is exactly as it is. And I believe that I am doing everything I can in this moment to be the best version of Tracy. And if there's something I'm not doing, the universe is going to show me and make me level up. That's what I do believe. Once I started living life in that way and understanding that as long as I am putting my best foot forward, I'm being impeccable with my word, I'm not taking what people do personally, I'm not making any assumptions, and I'm doing my best at everything, what else can I do? That's what I have decided to do. And I've decided also, have you ever seen the movie Our Town? It's a play. So I was an actress, and if you don't, now you know. And there's a play called Our Town. I don't think it was ever made in a movie. It might have been. But anyway, in Our Town, it just follows Emily and George. And the long and short of it is, the cliff notes, Emily dies, and then she looks back on her life, and that's when she realized she was never alive. She never lived. And that's what we do. We're so busy going, I gotta pay this, I gotta pay this, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. Oh no, I know he don't want her, he want me. I'm gonna chase after him, I'm gonna chase after her, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do. We're so busy doing all of that we don't stop and say, you know, yesterday that mushroom was only this big, and today it's this big, and look at how beautiful it is. And watch that mushroom take its full lifespan. We don't look and walk on the grass and, oh my God, look at how the earth feels between our toes. Or, you know, we don't do the things that really make us alive. We don't sit and look at our children and go, oh my God, look at you getting so big. I get to look at grandchildren now. And because I am in a state of awareness, I look at them and I'm just like, oh my God, I get to be catapulted further into the future. Yay, go Tracy. Anyhow, she realizes that. And in the last scene, where she just can't take no more. She's like, you know, oh world, the people have no idea of what they're missing out on because they're too busy running here and running there. And her husband, George, at the end, when the angel takes her back to her grave, he's sprawled out on the grave because he's living in the past. She's gone. He's living in the past. She's no longer living, and she's realizing she never lived. The whole exegesis of it is live while you can. Enjoy while you can. If a relationship is not working out and you have done all you can to make it work, it is time to let that relationship go. Who knows if out of the letting go of that relationship, a new one will be born with those same two physical people, or if the two of you will forever part and you will meet someone and they will meet someone. Even if they're the ones at fault, the worst thing you can do for yourself is to play the blame game. The worst thing you can do is decide, well, you know, we broke up because he met such and such, or she met such and such, and they started cheating, and he left me for her, but she gonna get hers because the same way you get them, it's the same way you lose them. All that stuff we tell ourselves to feel better about what we consider a loss. Instead, go, I hope that they are good for one another, because if he could leave me for her, that bitch must walk on water. How about thinking of it like that? Hey, I like that. You left me for her, bitch, you walk on water, right, boo? Because that's the only way he could leave me. You know what I'm saying? Big yourself up like that. But for real, understanding that if right now your finances are in a place where you're like, I'm about to be living on the street, start going in your mind and to think. Because if you're not meant to just live on the street, so decide, I'm not living on no street. That's it. Not living on the street. And then ask the God of your understanding to help you see the way that you don't have to live on the street, and it will happen. I don't believe there's a, well, you know, you got to live on the street to learn a lesson. I don't necessarily believe that. I could be wrong about that. I'm not going to say I'm right or wrong. What I know is whatever it is you desire, it desires you. And I'm living this dream now. In the virtual dream that he talks about, I'm living it, looking at things so differently and understanding that I am so blessed. And even though I'm at the time in my life where I am going through a divorce and I'm going to be single, I'm okay with that because it's my life right now and it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. And I wish him love and peace and joy and prosperity because I wish those things for myself. And you can't have for yourself what you don't wish for. You can't have for yourself what you don't wish for somebody else. So if you know, you know. If you don't, you can run and gossip about it. Go tell it on the mountain. It doesn't matter. I'm good. I'm really good. I'm happy. Life is good. And I'm recognizing that the man I married is not the man that's here now. And he probably would say the same thing, that I'm not the woman he married, and that's okay. It's gonna be well. Because I saw the end of this story and we won. I won. That's for damn sure. Love you guys. Have an amazing day. See you tomorrow, the 5th agreement, where we will be going into chapter 7. Practice makes the master. Getting into that 4th agreement. Always do your best. Have an amazing night. Like, share, subscribe. Mwah. Bye.